Hi, Nicole Snow here. This Friday, I wanted to share with you an information or talk about the topic of health and wellness. If you haven't joined into my videos before, typically Monday through Friday, I do a short video about a personal development or leadership principle. But my background's as an RN, and I really have a passion for researching health and wellness and nutrition and preventive health care. And so I want to start sharing that on Fridays because I believe that that is also a principle of power in our lives, of being able to be an impactful person. So I'm not an expert, but I am an expert at being a student. I love gathering good information and I love sharing good information. And that's my aim with this, is to be able to share good information. I know that sometimes it can be hard to try to improve or increase our health because we live in a day and an age of information. It's everywhere. It even helps me out with my 11-year-old he loves history. I love history too, but he's quickly outpacing me because he's so much brighter than me. And when he asks me questions in the morning of what I think the 5 greatest Greek battles were, I can say, let's Google that. And he still knows it came from Google, but at least I get a little credit for gathering the information. So I'm still a little bit relevant, hanging in there with him a little bit. But that's what I want to do, is share some health and wellness information on Fridays that's been impactful for me. And in my background as an RN, I've had the opportunity to see people go through a lot of different processes with their health, a lot of disease states and conditions, and to see varying degrees of self-care and proactivity in health and how that's impacted people's lives. And so I just want to share the things that have been impactful for me. Also, my family, both my mom and dad's side of the family, have a high rate of cancer, and that really drives me to want to know what I can best do regarding prevention and nutrition for myself and for my family for our future. And then again, to be able to be healthy enough to get out there and have an impact on the world. So a few things that I want to share today are, I think the great thing about them and from this article, are that you could start them today, that you don't have to wait. And there's a lot of power in just starting today. Sometimes with all the information out there, it's super easy for us to get analysis paralysis and just not do anything. But there's that quote, it's better to do something imperfectly than to do nothing flawlessly. And we might as well get started. I know that there can be conflicting information, but let's get started on some of these elemental things. So 2 things I want to share with you today. The 2 sources are an article called Health and Wellness, Anti-Aging Secrets That Never Get Old by Dr. Amy Osman Cook, who is a health and wellness expert. And then I want to share information from a research paper a research paper done by Washington State University, and that's located on PubMed. And when you are researching science and health, you're going to want to go to really good sources for that. Google created a search engine called Google Scholar that you can go to. You can search anything from law to science, medicine, nutrition. And there's no bloggers on there, there's no advertisements, no one trying to pull you away from the truth, or no one with a driven agenda. It has to be verified, documented research in order to get on there. And then the other really great source for that is pubmed.gov, and that's a website ran by the National Institutes of Health. And again, only peer-reviewed scientific studies get on there. So when you find something on there, you know that it's true science. It's not just someone's opinion about it. It is documented and verified. So in her article, she says that, if you spend a few hours watching TV in the evening, you can see that we are obsessed with wellness and aging. People will spend untold amounts of money to slow the aging process, to slow the disease process, and to look younger. In fact, she says that a Transparency Market Research survey showed that globally, by the year 2019, sales in the anti-aging market are projected to reach almost $192 billion, nearly $200 billion globally on anti-aging. That's such a tremendous amount of money. So she talks about if you're one of those people looking for that there's a lot of ways to do that and to implement it. And I like that everything that she presents is a natural source. It's not a medication. So first one that she mentions is calcium. She says that nutritionist Nan Fuchs says that you can see an impact with as little as 500 milligrams of calcium taken with 500 to 600 milligrams of magnesium a day in bone density. And bone density is hugely important for preventing osteoporosis. And she doesn't say it on here, but movement also is. Weight-bearing exercises are also what build the density in our bones. And just getting moving is a prevention for that. Vitamin A, she talks about eating foods that are high in vitamin A to help repair our skin from years of sun exposure. There is also new to the market, per request by researchers at Louisiana State University, a liquid, a skincare to be applied obviously to the skin, that is something that activates a pathway in our body that fights free radicals and oxidative stress. So it shows a remarkable reduction in the impact of wrinkles, and it also has the potential to be preventing skin cancers by helping upregulate genes that cause the cells to protect themselves. So that research is hugely important. And if you want to message me, if you're interested in anything in this video, I'd be happy to send you the links to Dr. Osmond Cook's article, to the PubMed research paper, and any of these items that we're talking about. So next one is water. She says if you want to track a person's real age, look at his or her hands. When it comes to delaying the signs of age, water has a surprisingly positive effect on our hands, and I never thought of drinking water for my hands. According to the Institute of Medicine, men should drink 13 cups per day, women should drink 9, and we can all start doing that today. The next one was omega-3s for brain fog and memory loss. So it's recommended that you get at least 2 servings of omega-rich fishes a week, and if you're not a fish lover, to be able to get those through supplementation or foods. And there's also a drink that I like that feeds the brain. It has things in it like quercetin, L-theanine, Monterey pine bark extract, sweetened with stevia. So if you want to know that, message me and I'll be happy to share that link with you. But being able to benefit our brain is hugely important in that way. We can also get omega-3s from flaxseed, chia seeds, and nuts. Then she talks about supplements, and I know that supplementation can really be a minefield, and we could dedicate ourselves to just studying supplementation. But my goal with it is to simplify. I want to find supplementation that is backed by science and that's really going to have an impact. And I don't want to be taking a big tray of pills every morning. I had patients on Home Health that would come out with huge baskets of supplements and really spending nearly a paycheck on it. So I want it to come from a good source. I want to be able to use food as medicine whenever possible. And part of this with supplementation, it can help reduce the signs of aging like wrinkles and brown spots. But there are some that have been proven to actually extend life. And there's actually one that the National Institutes of Aging has shown to increase lifespan by 7%. And that's the one that I take and have had tremendous impact from it. So again, message me if you want information on that one. But the last one that she ends with is massage. She says, once it was considered a simple luxury for people with money in their wallet and too much time on their hands, massage has been shown to reduce stress, aid in digestive orders, relieve insomnia, and encourage joint and muscle flexibility. All these factors contribute to the discomfort compounded by aging. And she says if you don't have the money for massage, that also having intentional stretching has an impact. And so to me, that sounds like yoga. A few years ago, my daughter was taking yoga in high school, and I had never tried it. I always thought that a workout had to just kind of about kill you to have an impact for you. And she was saying, Mom, I think I'm having more peace. I think I'm happier, better mood, better sleep because of yoga. And I thought, yeah, right. But I started trying it with her, and I really did see an impact in my life. And so I've continued that. And there's a lot of great free resources out there for it. The great thing about it is you don't need a gym membership, something that you can do at home. It's also something that you can do on the road. When you're traveling, you're able to do it in a hotel room. There's a particular yogi on YouTube that I really like. I love following her channel. So again, if you want a link to that, just let me know, because that's had an impact for me. So when she's talking about supplementation, really the impact from it has to do with reducing inflammation. And that's why I want to share this study by Washington State University. They basically went through all the studies that have been done on a particular pathway in the body called the NRF2 pathway. And they are restating what they've found, what all these studies have shown that activating this pathway does. And it's very active up until about our early 20s, and then it really starts to taper. So finding a way to keep that going is really good for our bodies, because they show that it produces cytoprotection cells or genes whose only job is to help the cells protect themselves, reduces toxins, reduces inflammation by fighting the free radicals and oxidative stress in the body, which cause aging. And really, inflammation is linked to over 250 disease processes. Everything from like ADHD to heart disease, diabetes, they have an inflammatory component. And if they have an inflammatory component, activating this pathway in the body has a tremendous amount of power for your health. But what really caught my eye as I was reading this study, they said, while no doubt it is too early to make a conclusion, it is difficult to escape the suggestion that we may be on the verge of a new literature on the health effects of NRF2, which may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. It is our opinion that raising NRF2 is likely to be the most important health-promoting approach into the foreseeable future. Huge, huge. That it could be the most extraordinary preventive breakthrough in the history of medicine. Preventive. And that's awesome, to be able to be proactive and be preventive and be able to trigger this pathway in the body through food supplementation. So I just encourage you to do what you can to make a decision this weekend, to implement one or all of these things that Dr. Hook shares with us. And a great example of that was a gentleman I talked about in the personal development video yesterday named Pat Bracco. He's 31 years old, and 3 years ago he'd gone to the physician and he weighed over 600 pounds. He was really discouraged and depressed about that. So he made one pivotal decision in his life. He decided that for every meal he ate, he was going to walk to his closest grocery store to get the food, walk home, and then eat it. So his closest grocery store was his Walmart that was 1 mile from his home, and he began walking there 3 times a day, which was 6 miles. He said he'd never walked 6 miles in his whole life, but he started walking there to get food, and he started losing weight. And then he started looking at the nutritional content of the food he was buying and working on that. And after 2 years, he'd lost over 200 pounds, which in itself is remarkable. But I also think it's remarkable because we have to remember that these kind of changes and these impacts take time. He didn't see it overnight, but he kept going. He knew what he wanted, and he made a decision to do some daily actions that got him there. And to this date, he's lost 325 pounds. He wants to be a bodybuilder. But he said that his most important goal right now is being an example to his 1-year-old son. So through the decision that he made for his health, he's having an impact on others, on many, many others around him. And that's why I think that studying health and wellness goes hand in hand with studying personal development and leadership, because our physical health is one more tool for us to be able to have an impact on the world, for us to be able to get out there and physically lift someone else's burden and help them, but also to have the energy and the stamina and the mental focus and the ability to have an impact. We have to take care of ourselves in order to do that. So I'd like to close with a quote by Stephen Covey. He says, "Your power to choose your direction of your life allows you to reinvent yourself, to change your future, and to powerfully influence the rest of creation." You have an opportunity to powerfully influence the rest of creation. And I'm grateful that we have the opportunity for these choices. Again, if you're like me, I know that it can get overwhelming because there is so much information out there. So I'd love to just share with you the information that I gather, being a nerd, as my sister puts it, but I just really know that we have an opportunity to tremendously impact our lives and the lives of those around us. And I'd love to share that with you. So if you'd like a copy of any of those resources that I mentioned, just shoot me a message and I'd be happy to get them to you. Thanks, and let me know what you decide to act on this weekend, what you decide to change and start today.